Let's have a conversation.
I want to take this time to thank everybody for their support of myself, Mark, and the music and mental health movement. Please take this time to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to get notified of when I drop some more great content. Thank you.
Trust is your currency in the game. So it's like
Mhm.
if you've been in another game and you're like, I couldn't trust you in this particular game. We come into this next game. Even if I want to trust you as a friend, it's a little bit less. I'm not going in with the same blind confidence as when we
Right.
first
And I,
were in
I
the
I wish I'm really proud of how well I did on Big Brother, how far I made it. But that you do have to kind of think about that of like, okay, am I gonna make the same mistake again? I'd rather not, like I'd rather try something new than make them at that same mistake, you know. Either way I was going in, either I make the mistake or I make a move and it messes up my game, who knows? And I'm also someone that can mentally keep real life and the show's life in two different places. I don't take things personally. So that's why I say you got me in the game. I still care a lot about you. I still trust you in my real life aspect, but in the game, it's a totally different world that I'm able to separate. But unfortunately, some people can't.
What's up, everybody? I'm here in the studio. I just finished my interview with Alyssa Lopez of Big Brother 23. Thankful to Alyssa. We made this happen. It was difficult with the scheduling, but I got it done. Hi, MC. How are you? Whew. When I finish with these things, I feel like I just did a job because I don't know how other people do interviews. But when I do interviews, especially when it's reality TV stars, and if it's not like they had a recent show that just happened or something, I had to actually go back, watch their season. I watched all the episodes or most of the episodes up until the time that she was taken out of the show. And then I watched some of her most relevant episodes of the Challenge USA. And I saw some of her interviews. So a combination of all of that led me to have the questions that I was going to be able to ask her, which I brought my paper. Actually, for once, I would say just about everything that I typed out and planned to say, I got out of there and more. And then I had to come up with some more questions on the spot. um, because sometimes when you get different people that you're interviewing, some people are very long winded and fill in all the gaps. And some people you kind of lead them with your questions more. You have to come up with a lot of questions, but it's a learning process. She's kind of somewhere in the middle when it comes to that, but I think I got a really good interview. I asked a lot of different questions. I asked her about her social anxiety. I asked her about the cookout, how she felt about the cookout, her relationship with X, how things were in the house, how she felt after leaving the house. I asked her about what it was like not really being known and then being like really well known. When I saw that she missed the original time due to different time zone, I wondered if the interview would happen. Well, I might have wondered in the past if the interview was going to happen. Here's the thing with what happened to me to make sure that this happened. When she got back to me, when I first reached out to her, she responded in less than 24 hours, which I was very surprised about. And she was instantly like, yeah, I'd love to do an interview with you. Let's do it next month. Because that was January when I first reached out to her. And then I reached out to her the very first day of the next month, February 1st. I didn't get a response. She responded to me like a week and change after that next message. I sent like 2 follow up messages and she responded to the second one and said, I have Thursday available at 4 p.m. And this was Monday. I have so many obligations on Thursdays. Thursday at 4 p.m. was not free and was not a good time. And I actually told her this at the end of the interview well, I think it might have been during the interview, but towards the end. It was not a good time. But the thing is, I was determined that unless there was some unbreakable commitment that I had for today, that I was going to do it. And it was not like an unbreakable commitment. It was just a matter of gym time, which is important to me, but it's not like I can't break gym time. And I planned to get out of work early, and I did get out of work early for this. But I said, well, moving it 2 hours later, I'm still not at work. So the only way that it wasn't going to happen is if she canceled. If she said I can only do it at midnight, I'd be in here at midnight doing this interview at midnight. And the reason why, it's not easy to book these people. It's not easy. I waited probably a year for my interview with Wes. I waited probably 6 months or so for my interview with Ayana. The only people I didn't wait were the people I interviewed from my life, because we communicate consistently. They're not hard to reach. But when you reach out to one of these people on their business email, good luck. So sometimes you have to make things work somehow, and that's what I did today. But it was a really solid interview. Alyssa was easy to talk to. I think she was out of town. I think she was traveling. Yeah, I think she was traveling, so she wasn't home. So she had told me that she's going to be home in the next 6 days. But then she's going to be busy for like 9 days after she gets home. And then I think she's going to be traveling again or something. So it was just like, unless we get it in today, it's going to be a long wait. And I wanted to get this off my plate before BB Can, especially because I did not want to try to do this interview during the BB Can season. I mean, when I get into the BB Can or when I get into a BB season, I get so much into the season that it's hard to do other things or cover other things. I will be covering other things, but I know that covering any BB season is a time commitment. So I was like, I'm going to get this done. I got it done. I learned from my interview with Wes when he gave me an hour. I was like I started off going through everything with him step by step. What happened here? What happened on season 1? What happened on season 2? What happened on season 3? And then I'm looking and I'm like, where did half an hour go? And he's been on 20 seasons of television. How did the interview go? Was she forthcoming? The interview will be dropping soon. Possibly on the weekend. I'll drop the interview. I'm going to get into the editing. I don't have much to edit for the interview. It was just like internet issues, things that were kind of choppy and getting cut out. A few of those, but there's nothing really to edit out per se. I'm just going to make sure that it smoothly goes through from beginning to end. But yeah, I would say that she was forthcoming. Critiquing myself, did I ask all the questions in the exact way that I wanted to? Not necessarily. I'll have to watch it back. But at least I can say that I touched all the bullet points that I planned. Like I said, I got into talking about anxiety, mental health, We spoke about the cookout. We spoke about the Challenge USA, a whole bunch of different things. We got a lot of good conversation in that hour, and she was very nice. She was very nice. I think that I might have asked her some questions that other people haven't asked, or maybe you guys haven't heard in this kind of a way. Yeah, I can't wait till I actually drop it and get some feedback. Can't wait. Thinking your interview will be different than others we've seen. And I told her, I said, thank you for being the first Big Brother interview that I've ever done. And she was like, that can never be taken away from me. There might be better ones, but there will not be another first. That is a fact. Just like Ayana was my first reality TV interview, that's her crown. Alyssa was my first Big Brother interview, that's her crown. Um, John Brennan and Wes. Appreciate them too. I'm building up my resume. I am building up my resume little by little and hoping that the more that I put out there is the more that they will come. And I believe that's how it's going to go. I have been doing this thing really since the time I started this page of stepping out in faith and just go with the flow. Shout out to Nick Shorts because she was actually the one who recommended for me to reach out to Alyssa. Because if you guys remember, when that fan said to her about, oh, not Alyssa working at Hooters, and she gave her response, I came on here and I did a live basically defending her and being like, what's wrong with going back to work after you leave the show? And then when I emailed her to get this interview, I mentioned that. I gave her the link. I don't know if she saw it or not. Maybe she did. Maybe she didn't. I don't know. And then I sent her some examples of my previous interviews. And she was like, thank you for your stance on that. I would love to do an interview with you. And that was that. So all of my interviews so far that I've done, even though there's not many, they've been really good experiences. I'm thinking about who I would like to reach out to next, but not right now. Because like I said, some people were born to do this and some weren't. It's funny because when I wasn't recording, I was mentioning to her that about my own anxiety. And it happens when I do stuff like this because last night I was just reviewing my notes, brushing up on the episodes to make sure that everything was fresh in my head. I didn't want to make any mistakes. I wanted it to be really good. And then I got here an hour early. I'm preparing again. You know, I'm making sure the sound and everything works well, which there was issues with the sound. I don't think there will be issues in the playback, but I had unexpected technical difficulties in here because I'm in the studio. So hopefully that's not necessarily reflected. But yeah, I put a lot into this. I really do. I really do. When I do this, I want my product to be the best that it can be. Actually, I do have somebody that I am going to reach back out to soon. And hopefully we lock down some kind of an interview. I don't know if they're going to be amicable to doing interviews yet, but they told me reach back out this year. and we'll see what we can get done. But anyways, yeah, I just wanted to give you guys a recap of my interview with Alyssa. I really appreciate her for being so willing to do this. Sometimes when you reach out to their emails, you don't even speak to them directly. You speak to an agent, you speak to whatever person is handling that page, and half the time or more than half the time, you don't even get to them directly. So this was a direct response from her. She responded to me. We figured things out with the schedule. I told her I believe in timing, so this happened at the right time that it was supposed to happen. I'm excited. I'm excited that I got this done. I thought that I was gonna get my first Big Brother interview months ago. As you guys know, I thought it was gonna be Indy. But before I thought it was gonna be Indy, I thought it was gonna be Taylor. Um, I reached out to Jasmine. I think I probably reached out to Monty, Amira. I reached out to a good at least 8 people from BB24. I didn't get any responses except for the indie agent or whatever situation. But aside from that, I didn't get any other responses. So I was kind of like, it's okay. I don't really need to do a BB interview necessarily. I can just cover the show. I don't necessarily have to speak to a house guest or anything like that. But this opportunity presented itself, and here we are. On another note, did you finish watching BB Can 5? Yeah, I guess you didn't see when I did my live about it, but yeah, I did a live where I was talking about my thoughts about BB Can. And BB Can was fun. It was really interesting. The games were fun. The spaceship house was interesting. Um, Kevin winning. Wow. Kevin played a good game, but I also feel like he played a little bit of a snaky game. And that might not have flown on BBUSA, but you never know. I guess it depends. But Kevin was a little bit slimy for me. But I guess he made the right moves at the right time. That secret power veto with William and the way he finessed him. I don't know how else to say it. He finessed him into having those feelings and using that secret power veto. Was this the first season you watched of BB Can as well, MC? Because it was my first season that I watched. It was a great season. I would watch another season, but it's like there's only, well, I guess I watched it in probably 2 weeks or less. But there's only a couple of weeks until BB Can season 11 starts. What, about 3 weeks? Maybe I could get into another season. But it's just like once you dive into a BB season, it's so time consuming. It's so time consuming to dive, even to watch an old BB season. It's so time consuming. So that's the reason why sometimes I'm hesitant to get into a new season. You know what I was saying that I liked about the BB Can versus BBUSA is that BB Can has a much more lighthearted feel to it. And I know that that's just a trend that has happened in recent seasons where they've gotten on really heavy world kind of topics and issues. But I liked the fact that this game was just game and they were having fun. I know they had their arguments and all that too. I know Ika I know Ika was getting in some serious beefs in there, but it all still seemed game to me. It all still seemed like game. Yeah, I follow their channel now. I remember like episode 2 or 3 when I got on here and I was like, Dimitri and his unrequited love, and everyone, Lisa and everyone was in the comments like they're married. And I was like, what? How did this happen? But then I saw how things developed on the show. Yo, I don't know if you watch Survivor, but they were playing Big Brother like it was Survivor. Like things changed week to week so fast. And I was so surprised at Karen making it. I was so surprised at Karen making it to final two. I'm like, Karen? I thought Karen was gonna be out like week 2, week 3, week 1 even. When I saw her, I was like, this lady is not going to last very long on this show. This is not the show for her. Little do I know. Look at Karen. Look at Karen making it real far. I don't really think she had a chance in the end. I don't think she had a real legit chance in the end, but good for her for making it with all the young people in there. And she's the only one, the only older person on the show. And she kind of fit in with them somehow. There was a lot of personalities on that season. And then the vets were kind of trying to form this alliance together, but then they weren't really liking each other like that, and they didn't trust each other like that, so it didn't really happen how they wanted it to happen. The old lady, I don't. I liked how she kept calling him Kevin Martin. Kevin Martin this and Kevin Martin that. She didn't like Kevin Martin on the show. She did not like Kevin. I think that she was trying to. I don't know. I didn't see any of the after show stuff, but it sounded like, at least based on what we were seeing, that she wanted Dimitri to win. Dimitri was a comp beast, but it seemed like even if Dimitri had made it to the end, they were not going to vote for him because a lot of them were saying, we feel like Ika is the one that's making all the political and social decisions, and you're just winning the comps. So Dimitri was kind of going the Michael route. Winning, winning. He's like, I just got to win out. I was shocked when Dimitri and Ika went on the block together twice and made it off. Maybe that was it. Maybe that was it, MC. Like, it's a lot. It's like watching the show blind, not seeing the live feeds. So I didn't watch any of the live feeds. I was just going off of the edited TV version of the show. So it's quite possible that she was acting that way as a cover up. Who knows? Maybe when a BB Canada fan is watching the replay, they can drop this in the comments and let me know if there's something I missed. If Lisa was on here, she would be dropping some knowledge about that. But anyways, thanks so much for joining me here. I'm about to leave the studio shortly. And I also want to say to you all, thanks for helping to keep my dream alive, because I've been chipping away at doing things like this for some time. And through the Big Brother community, really, is the reason why I have reached some level of success with it, and the reason why I'm motivated to keep going, keep working at it, and keep growing. and we'll see what develops in the future. For those of you who are members of my channel, I'm definitely going to have a preview for you before I drop the whole interview. Now, I think that I might be dropping the interview on my new channel. If you have not yet subscribed to that channel, hopefully I get it right. youtube.com/mindful reality. And the reason why I came up with that name is because my interviews that I do with people, I always ask them questions about mental health and their mental state in the house, coming out of the house, um, how different things affect them, social media, you know, things that they experienced in the game, the cameras being on them, all that kind of stuff. I tend to focus on those aspects. I ask some of the good questions too that everyone wants to know, but I do have a safe space and mental health focus. So I'm going to be uploading all of my interviews onto that channel eventually. And the reason for this is because when you reach out to a lot of these different reality TV stars to get them for an interview, um, they are like, "Can you give me a link to your page?" So my page, it does have interviews, but you guys know it has so much other stuff on it. So I needed a page that is just exclusively going to have interviews. So that's the reason why I opened up the second page. I'm actually working with a mentor who explained that to me. So that's some secondhand game I'm giving for somebody if somebody's thinking about how to increase their brand awareness and all that good stuff. I also have opened up a Instagram. I don't think I've done the TikTok yet for this name, and an email address by that name. So eventually, like I said, I'm migrating all of my interview and reality TV content over there, but I'll keep announcing it on here. And this page is still going to be active, and it's going to have more of just a focus of my day to day, the stuff that I'm doing with my fitness, the stuff that I do with my mental health, counseling, and all that. I'm going to be doing peer mentorship as a tier. I'm just figuring that out. I said I was going to do that yesterday, but I was caught up in preparing for this interview, so I didn't do that. And today, I have a little bit of work to do in preparation to send somebody an email who just responded to me about another interview for another show. And my plate is full. And at times I want to complain about that. I'm like, man, there's so many things to do and so little time. And I feel like I'm just running around all over the place. But there was a time when my plate was empty. And I was just praying for anything to be on the plate. And I don't want to go back to that time. I'd rather a full plate than an empty one. I'm just going to figure out how to kind of scrape some things off the plate and be like, this is for later because I can't do everything at once. But it's a good problem, I promise you. It's a good problem. Balancing work and then balancing jumping into this podcasting world, interviews, recaps, and blogs, and keeping up with a page and keeping up with a second page, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. It's a lot. Even Alyssa kind of said that to me. For her, it's a lot for her. It's a lot more for her. I'm just starting out. But it's a good thing overall. I didn't know I will subscribe after this. Love the new name. Thank you, Victoria. So I'm signing off, and thank you all for joining me. We'll talk again soon.